Welcome to Breakthrough.
Yes, it is good to be back with you all. Good to be back with you, Christian.
You too, Sister Joan.
Thank you.
Look at us in our new fancy setup.
Yeah, you have a nice little office here where you're setting up a little bit more
We have a-
permanent of a studio to make it our recordings and conversations with you much more easier.
Yeah, we're officially back here. It's been a busy time, and we've been saying, we got some things in the works, and Lord knows things have just been so crazy lately. But we're back now, and we're ready to be more consistent and present some things here. We got a studio space here that is exciting. We got our nice little poster on the wall. We are ready to rock, and we got some nice chairs here. These are
Yeah,
real.
well, they're making a breakthrough, huh?
Yeah,
We're making a breakthrough.
Yeah. So we're excited to be here, and we have some really good episodes lined up for you here. And yeah, today we're just jumping back into, kind of loosening up the muscles a little bit on what our breakthroughs are. And today we're going to talk about hope,
Right.
finding hope in these times.
Yeah, and these times, I think one of the reasons why we're been so delayed is trying to keep up with the times because everything is moving so quickly and trying to stay informed so that we know what would be the next best steps for us. And another thing that has really taken our time in a very good way is celebrating our 375th. So if you want to talk about hope, that the Sisters of St. Joseph founded in a little village, Le Puy in France,
Mm-hmm.
375 years ago. It was 6 women, intergenerational, with a spiritual companion who was a Jesuit, whose birthday we celebrated recently, Jean-Pierre Médaille, and we're still going. We're still
We're
going.
still going. It's October, and obviously Founders Day, October 15th, and gosh, it really has taken up a lot of energy in all the right ways. We had the conference in Kansas City, which was incredible. I had the honor of being on the planning committee for that, which was
You
one of
did
the
a great
most,
job.
thank you, was one of the most incredibly crazy experiences ever. Like it was so awesome. And that, but the height of it was like uh, coming down from all of that and just sometimes you can have like your tank be full of hope to this point where you're like, wow. And then on top of it, my creative juices have been put towards working on this really special 375 short documentary that is going to premiere on Founders Day, which I am so proud of. It is so exciting. Sam and I from Communications have been working on this, and what's been, like you said, the revisiting this story and listening and interviewed a bunch of people that are close to the congregation, who you'll recognize, hearing them reflect on what this means to them in each person's journey has been really powerful for me.
Yeah.
To just hear how much this means to people.
Right. Yeah, and and even though we're celebrating the 375th founding of the Sisters of St. Joseph, what is exciting and what is hopeful is that it is not just the Sisters of St. Joseph who recognize this gift, this grace, to carry out the mission of unioning love, is that our associates, agrégés, partners in mission, are really coming to understand more deeply that they too are bearers of this charism.
Yeah, we feel it. Definitely feel that the weight is there for us to bear in a good way.
Yeah.
In a good way. I know sometimes that could be a negative connotation of bearing the weight, but really it's an honor,
Right.
and that's been the feeling as of lately. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, and to be bearers of a tradition takes a responsibility, and and we are accountable to it. If you receive a gift, you need to pass it on and give it. Um, and the gift, a part of that is that we can't do it alone, and we do it through community. So we have a built-in community here with sisters, associates, agrégés, and partners, and connecting to other communities, outside of us. We always say we move towards the dear neighbor, from whom we do not separate ourselves. We can't. Separation is just an illusion, right? That we all are interconnected, and so right there, that's a lot of hope.
Yeah, well, it's just like the ecology, integral ecology. All things are connected. All things have
Right.
some, and it's funny being on Long Island. It's like the running joke is like everybody knows everybody and everyone. There's always a thing there.
And that's a good thing.
It's a good thing, but that's how the world should be.
Yeah.
It should always be this person, that person. It's also Halloween time, which I'm a big fan of Halloween time. It's like spider webs. Lovely.
It is the
There's
web of
all these
life.
webbings and all these connections,
Hmm.
and it's a lovely thing when you have the ability to bear witness to it.
And unfortunately, in our times, and perhaps necessary too, is all the deconstructing
Mm,
that is happening
mm,
across systems, which served the people in various capacities in various institutions, and now we see that there is a decline there,
mhm,
and they served for the time, and now it's up to us say what is needed in these times,
mm.
and how do we respond in these times with hope. We recently, with a sister was visiting us, and hope was part of the theme that she did with us, and she used this quote from Jorgen Moltmann about hope, that hope is future oriented. Okay, we're looking, it's divinely inspired dissatisfaction with what is. So while there's a lot of good going on, there's also lots happening in our world that people are dissatisfied with, and rightfully so. Yet those who hope in Christ can no longer put up with the reality as it is because too many are suffering. So hope is because we are dissatisfied, we are going to look to bring forth a new vision, a new way of doing things.
It's really lovely.
Mm,
And it's pretty appropriate for right now. I mean, there's a lot of dissatisfaction and a lot of, just people being lost, I think, is,
yeah.
as a father, of two very little ones, 3 and 1, uh, I see that there's this great hunger amongst young adults, young parents, for more.
Hmm.
And so, unfortunately, some people are taking advantage of that and feeding that in a negative way.
Right.
Others, I think, like you said, are feeling this call to start to re-examine
Hmm.
where they're putting their energy.
That's right.
And we have to do that. I mean,
Hmm.
I feel a great responsibility
Yeah.
to do that for my kids' sake.
Yeah.
Because, there's that line of like, when your kids get older, they're going to look at you and say, well, did you do something? That I think sometimes puts a little too much pressure on it. It's more like I feel like it's like I want them when they get older to say, "Did you know people?
Hmm.
Like, did you
Hmm.
talk to people? Did
Right.
you did you do something? Yes, but like, what was your web looking like?"
That's right. That's
And
right.
so, but it comes from that stirring of something going wrong, something feeling like, gosh,
Yeah.
I need to reach out more.
Well, and I think whether you're a parent or really any human being who is living now,
Mhm.
we need to think of, you know, especially young people now, and then the children of future generations. What kind of world, like you say, are we going to hand over to them? Are they going to be greeted with, And so when they're older, and if they're living in a world of discontent and dissatisfaction, they'll look back and say, "Well, why didn't you?
Yeah.
What stopped you?" And I think one of the things that can make me freeze is that it can be overwhelming,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know and so how do we be careful, as Pope Leo says, to be careful of the globalization of impotence,
Mm.
and just saying, what can I do, what can we do in our little part of the world, to tend to something that we are dissatisfied with and make it better. And then if everyone is taking responsibility for that where they are, change will happen.
Yeah, do your job. I mean, it's like I I have to bring up sports and stuff, but it's like sorry.
Here we go.
I'll be quick. I'll be easy. But it's like that classic line: if everyone on the field just does their assignment,
Hmm.
you will have production. And I think that's very true in our relationships too. If you focus in on what the relationship in front of you is calling for,
Hmm.
the presence that is needed, and I think this is a lot like being a parent too. Being clear in what your child needs from you right then and there in front of you, you'll be able to do that properly. I'm feeling a big pull too with my hope towards kindness because, um, sure, I can look at the big picture things, and I often do, and say, "Oh my gosh, we got to go to this rally, we got to do this, we got to do that." There's all these things. There's this sign on, but what's really lacking and what I'm worried about and hopeful about is our need for kindness in this world, because so many of the big people that are talking into the loudest microphones
Mm-hmm.
are just not being kind.
Right. Right.
And our kids need that. Our young
Mm-hmm.
people need to
Mm-hmm.
see that kindness is cool.
Right.
Like,
Yes. Yes. I like that. Yeah.
did you see Superman yet? The new Superman?
No, I have not. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay.
I've been a little busy.
Yeah, I know. I maybe saw it in the middle of the night when I was like trying to stay awake. But one of the themes in Superman, um, which is so cool, was that this idea that maybe the new punk rock in this world is to be kind.
Yeah.
And that literally is a line in the movie. Like, well, maybe someone's like, "You're not cool, Superman, Clark Kent. You're not whatever." And he's like, "Well, maybe this is the new punk rock. Like, maybe being kind is rebellious now because everyone thinks it's cool to be mean."
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. You know, and I think that brings up the point is to be people of hope, to be hopeful people, to be hope. You know, that we also need to be hope providers. And so if I'm kind to you, you know, it catches. You know, what's the old adage? Courtesy is contagious. You know, um,
People
and
remember that stuff.
they do. But and if I'm kind to you, and I think, you know, let's face it, people who are unkind, many times it's because they've experienced unkindness or lack of kindness in their life.
Yeah.
And so if they could receive it, and how important for us as hope providers to really be a presence, a non-judgmental presence, even though inside, you know, whatever is being said or done can just grate inside of me. You know, I need to take a look at that and to say is, let me be present, let me listen deeply as I can, and try to understand what it's like to walk in your shoes, because I can never walk in your shoes.
Right.
But what is it like to walk in your shoes?
Yeah. And we're seeing that a lot now with, the ICE deportations and so many people prayerfully thinking about what does displacement look like for them? What does it
Mm-hmm.
look like to have to pick up and go, or not even be able to be given the opportunity to
Right.
pick up,
Right.
being picked up? There's a lot of that, the thinking of like, what is it like to walk in shoes? That's definitely been on a lot of people's minds
Mm-hmm.
lately. I think too, with the lack of kindness, a lot of people who are, I don't want to say the word mean, because I don't want to be mean in my in my process here, but people who are struggling to be kind in this world, a lot of them are also just so fearful.
Yeah.
Fear is such a huge agent
Yeah.
of change in bad ways, and
Right.
it's a huge problem. And
Yeah.
so not only do we have to be kind, right, and we have to look at other people's shoes and see what that looks like, but we also have to be helpful in
Right.
in trying to cope with people's fears
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
say, why are you feeling that way?
Yeah.
What who hurt you? Who hurt
Yeah.
Um,
Because one of the worst things that can happen due to fear is that we freeze.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that impotence. I don't have the power. I don't feel strong enough, you know, to rise above this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I remember sharing the acronym. You have fear. It could be face everything and run, or you can face everything and rise.
Yeah.
You know, and we are called to be a resurrection people,
Mm-hmm.
not just to resuscitate, but to rise, so that something new happens, something is transformed for the better, for the entire good of the people and the planet.
Yeah, and let's rise in the right way. I mean, that's a big thing I've been seeing so much on media because I'm, the media guy and whatnot. Is there's a lot of people who, and that's why I'm so proud of this show, and I'm proud of what we're doing here and trying to do each time we do this. Is there's a lot of people who are taking advantage of the fears of others,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to say, okay, rise, but rise over here and do this or do that or do this, and it's like take all that away and
Yeah.
just individual relationships, the kindness that you can have right there, the hope that you can instill in somebody in the moment, right
Mm-hmm.
then and there. Let's get back to basics.
Yeah.
Let's, kind of like how we feel about coming back to the show here. We had a really great production meeting last week, and we said, let's get back to basics. Let's sketch it out here, and let's get back to what, this summer has been so busy and so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this.
Filled with a lot of good.
A lot of good, yeah, totally. But
Yeah.
Definitely, exhausting in ways, and that's a good thing. But yeah, let's get back to basics in our own heart and in the bigger picture too.
Mm-hmm.
See what happens.
And keep it simple. It's really not. It's
Yeah.
not hard
Yeah.
for me to be kind to someone.
Mhm.
My dad used to say, it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. And physiologically, he's correct.
Mm.
And so if I could just lift up the corners of my mouth and give someone a smile, it might just what they need, to go on with their day.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah, and ask questions of people,
Yeah.
Get to know people.
Yeah.
Be inquisitive in your
Right.
journeys and in your where you walk. I mean, that's another thing too I try to be mindful of is right now with all the pods and the headphones and how easy it is to just be tuned out.
Mhm.
And I have to check myself for that too because on the one hand, the technology is exciting and it is
Yes.
really crazy. Like I could run through audiobooks like crazy these days,
Mhm.
But when you go out into public, like take those things out, try to, ask somebody a question, try to be there. You'd be shocked to see what those things can bubble up,
Yeah.
So that's what's giving me hope is being punk rock as much as I can.
Right, and break through those
Those limits.
isolating moments. I mean, sometimes we need to step back, we
Sure.
need space, silence. I get all of that. And yet we also can't stay there.
Yeah.
Because we always say it's all about relationships, and in the coming to know other relationships, that leverages power.
Yeah.
And if I know you and I know you by name, makes a big difference.
All right, quick story time.
Okay.
A quick hope story time. Nina, my wife, and I, we went to see a comedy show at the Garden a few weeks ago. Nate Bargatze. Well, I'll give a shout out because he's such a sweet, clean comic, so like wholesome. We don't normally go to these kinds of things because you never. And unfortunately, a lot of comedians have become very political, and so you don't know where you're going to. This one, we're like, we kind of know his audience. We are his audience. This could be really fun. So we're going on the train, and it was apparently the same time as this Ryder Cup golf tournament, which I'm not as much of a sports person as people think. I had no clue what was going on. But apparently we didn't make a good showing as an American fan base.
No, we did not.
And it's pretty embarrassing. That I do know. Anyways, we're sitting in the train, and this gentleman who has a volunteer badge on for Ryder Cup says, "Can I sit with you?" And he has an English accent. His name is Leon. And he sat there and we said, "Hey, how you doing?" And we started talking to him about golf and whatnot. And it was one of those moments where we could have easily just kept talking and we were in a deep conversation ourselves. We opened it up, got to know this man, a single father who had a really tragic thing happen to him when he was young, raised his daughter by himself. Now she's achieving her dreams and he's achieving his of volunteering at all these little tournaments that he can go to go do this work and because he just loves that. And but how much he loves it was just really beautiful. And then we end up talking about kids but again, like one of those moments where if the pods are in, if we're not tuned into the place around us, you miss that.
Yeah. See, and I think technology is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
So far as it connects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we disconnect through technology, doesn't leave many options for hope.
Yeah. So happy to be back with you. Happy to be back here.
Good to be with you all.
Let's get it going. We're back.
We're back, and we look forward to future weeks with you.
Thanks for watching this edition of Breakthrough. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and share with a friend. Also, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Sisters of St. Joseph, Brentwood, New York, for more content and future episodes of Breakthrough.